Got it. So, hello and happy Saturday to all. So good to see everybody. And it's so much fun getting on here a little bit in advance and hearing where everybody's calling in from. There are so many countries that watch in, whether you are on the live or you are on the recording. Thanks for joining. And I know why you're joining today, because first of all, you're excited about Zinzino. Most of us on here are already partners, or maybe some potential partners on here. But we have a special guest on today who has been traveling around the whole entire world doing different events because he's such a visionary, and he has a vision of where he sees Zinzino. And we're on this mission of really empowering so many people in regards to their own health. So I am super proud that he is coming on in between events over in Italy. So welcome on here, our founder of Zinzino, Orjan Saele. Hello, Orjan.
Thank you, Carla, and thank you for having me here. And great to see you, Donna. Great to see you, Arlo. Great to see a lot of the people that I haven't seen. I see Julieta. Will soon, many of us meet in Mexico. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be very exciting, coming up very soon. So Carla, today, it goes like this. I've got a plane to catch. So if I'm not done in 30 minutes today, I won't catch that flight. So this will be the first time I keep within the 30 minutes that you always ask from me.
Well, that's wonderful. 30 minutes from you, and I know you actually cut it short. So I know we're going to get to business here, Orjan. Orjan, you have huge goals in Zinzino, and not only just to have those goals, but you really, I mean, we're on this mission. And I think because now that we're out really meeting with people, the stories have been incredible of what Zinzino really does for people. Let's just say as products alone, the company does a whole bunch too, but it's the mission, it's a passion that so many of us are feeling, that we really want to make this impact. All because of you, Orjan.
Well, here is what I shared with the people that were with me in Rome here for 2 days. I came in yesterday, we started the event in the evening, and then we did a full day today. And that was several things that I wanted to get through, where one of them, maybe the most important part, is that a dream, what you want to achieve, the goals that you have, is a promise from you in the future. And if you do it your best of your ability, you'll be able to achieve that. It will take everything you've got, but it will never take more than what you've got, which means that if you can see that, dream that, you can achieve it. But, and there is a but on that, and that is that we have so many scars. We have so many things that happened to us, things that were done to us, things that we did to others, that is holding us back, giving us a bad feelings, bad self-conscious, negative thoughts, doubts, distractions, all of those things that is holding us back in life is typically what's holding people saying, well, I don't know if that's going to happen, or you don't dare to believe because you were disappointed in the past. You don't dare to go full out because you had a burnout in the past, or you don't dare to talk to everyone that you know about the product because somebody gave you negative feedback in another project, or you heard somebody say something negative about somebody else. And this takes our strength away. And the way to overcome that is by forgiving ourselves for the things that we did, saying that I am satisfied with things that was done to me. And then in the end of all of that, saying that I believe in that dream, that's my future. That's who I am. And people can just wait. When I start building from a position of strength, where I'm strong, where I believe in myself, where I love myself, then wow, the world will soon see the new version of me, and they will for sure want to follow that one. And then you create that into existence. So that was the first thing that I wanted to share with them, and was the last thing that I did. But since I'm here with you guys now, I dealt with that first. Then the second part is the potential of what we do from a practical standpoint. Like if you look at, and I've shared the vision 1,000 times. Every time I come on here, Carl, I talk about the vision. Every time I talk about it a little bit different. And today is a completely different take on the vision. And that is that, you know, and going back just to when I first saw the products all of those years ago, back in 2012, I'd been using omega-3s for 30 years. I was having a gut issue that made me be on a special diet. So I nearly only ate fish. I had fish most of the days, 2 times a day, just a little bit of long cooked meat and some vegetables and some salad. I couldn't eat normal food because it gave me so much pain in my stomach. So that was where I was when I saw the balance oil. But if all they showed me was the balance oil, in fact, I share that. I'd forgotten that. But I walked out of that first meeting without the product. I didn't even bring the product with me out of the first meeting with Ola Eid and Jan Bakke, which was the founders and inventors. I only brought with me the test because it was the test that got my attention. I wanted to see if the 30 years of consumption of omega-3 and 14 meals with fish every week was good or bad, if it was enough or not. And it was first after I took the test and I saw that 30 years of taking omega-3s, and at the time I took it, so you heard about my fish diet, and I was taking 2 capsules in the morning, 2 capsules for lunch, and 2 capsules in the evening of the omega-3s that I had at that point, about 60, 70, $80 a month worth of products I was consuming from other brands. And then I took the test, and my test was 10.4 to 1. And that's when I saw something that I couldn't unsee. And that sparked then inside of me that saying that, okay, this is something that every single consumer of omega-3 will want to do in the future. Every single one of them. But they can't do it before they know about it. And when they first get to know about it, when it's early trend, they're skeptical. So they don't do it because they're skeptical. But as this progresses, it will be the same effect, especially inside of the omega-3 group. So bear with me for a second. So I then brought the audience. I went over to the wall and I saw actually one of those sockets, you know, for old phone lines. We were in an old buildings. And I said, inside of there used to be a cable that was connected to the phone. And you had to go over to the wall and say hello. And then later on, we got cables that could, and then later on they were handhelds that was connected to the base that was connected to the wall. But first time I saw the cell phone, I said, we'll never go back and be connected to the wall again. And that was the same experience I had when I first saw the test. We'll never go and just eat blindly nutritional products. We don't want to be guest-based anymore. We want to be test-based. And that's every time I have somebody that have used omega-3 for a long time, they get their test result, they have that same experience and say, what have I been doing my entire life? I can never go back to the old way of being. I have to do it this new way, which is test-based. And that's exciting because there is 500 million people in that category. And as we work through those 500 million people, we meet a lot of people that is not in that category. They're either nutrition consumers or just trying to eat a healthy diet, or just somebody that you randomly got to test and use the product. But as this trend develops, it's going to be the same thing. We go from one way of doing things, which everyone was doing, to a radical new way of doing things, which everyone will be doing in the future. And when you get that, you get so confident about where we're going as a company that is just absolutely amazing. So test-based nutrition will overtake the nutritional space globally, and that creates 500 million consumers in omega-3 space. But whenever there is new technology, more people are attracted. Consumption goes up between existing consumer groups, and lots of new people are attracted into consuming it. So by the time we hit 1 billion people tested in the world in 2050, I think that there will be 1 billion consumers of omega-3s as well.
Well, it's incredible just to hear what you're saying, Orjan, and that with your health issues, you had a change because the stories are great out there. There are so many health stories of happening, but I love your vision on this because you're saying that when everybody needs it, this is the trend, this is where we're going. And I think those who are partners know this is where we're going. But you have had huge success with this. So of all the partners that you're talking to, you can see who's having huge success and who's not. So what would you say is the keys in regards to having success in the business? Because if we're going to go from 500,000 people in taking the products, which we're around now about 500,000, and you said there's 500 million that are going to be taking the products.
And we'll
Okay.
be the market leader, giving us about 20% is my estimate of the omega-3 consumer base in the world.
Okay, so we want the biggest part of the pie. People who want that are watching this now and saying, okay, we've got this. We've got the incredible product leading the way with the trend and the right background in the company for it. So what is it that we need to do? We need more people involved.
Correct,
So what do we
correct. So that was the third thing that I was dealing with, but you broke me off, which is okay. It's your show.
No, it's your show today. We want to hear from you, not me.
No. You're the one that hosts things. I should follow your lead. I did two things and I broke you off and didn't let you in. But the third thing was talking about what builds the business. Like what really does build a business. I love when we get 4 customers because you got yourself and your closest on the product. I love when we increase to 10 customers because then you get somebody that doesn't live in your house anymore as a customer. And then I absolutely am thriving when people hit 18 and 25 customers. That's amazing because now you develop the skills that you need to know to teach other people to do the same thing, because you occasionally talk to people that are not on your biggest fan list anymore. So you actually have to know sales. You actually have to know the product. You actually need to know how to test. You actually need to develop the basic skills of how to talk to people about it. And if we have time at the end, I'll cover shortly what I do when I talk to people that I've never met before on how to get them interested in taking the test in 2, 3, 4 minutes time or less. But then I said to the people that, yes, it's okay that you go pro team. Yes, it's okay that you go top team. Yes, it's okay that you're top team 200. Yes, it's okay, Julieta, to be top team 1000. That's an amazing achievement. But in a sense, that's not what I want. No, I'll forgive you if you do it. I'll clap for you. I'll give you recognition. We'll send you on trips. We'll give you the money. We'll give you the $10,000 bonus. Now, don't get me wrong. But if there is 500 million people out there and we're 20,000 active partners in Zinzino, we will never reach them, even if each one of us got 5,000 customers each. We still make a very tiny impact. So I want the time that is above 25 customers. I want you to maintain 25 because that's your core competence in teaching others. But I want that time into team building. And then at one point in 2039, I want us all to have 50, because when we have like 1 million or 2 million active distributors or partners, then it's maybe time to go and be top team 100 for everyone. But at this point, we should get the core competence in selling, and then we should develop the function of building a team so that you get A and B in place. You drive 100 partners in depth under A, which have 25 customers each. Then you drive 100 in depth under B that have 25 customers each. Then you under A drive to 1,000 people in depth. So you add a 0 and each one has 25 customers each. And then you drive 1,000 under B or A or whatever I said first. I got confused now by myself. And you have those 10,000 people in that team that have 25 customers each. And that's the way we build business. Then you say, oh, this is my day. I finally achieved that. Now I can build C. Now I can build inside leg. And then eventually when you have 1,000 people in depth there and they've 10, 25 customers, you can go and build D. And you can keep on developing and you become what we call the rank of president in a business one day into the future. But that team building is what we need today more than anything else, because this trend of test-based nutrition is about to go from being very rare, so very unknown, very strange, and some of us were pricking fingers in 2012, you know, and everyone looked at you and said, why would you want to do that, you know? But it's getting closer and closer to where this is not so uncommon, which means that we're getting closer to when this is going to be a request that people that are taking omega-3s are asking, how can I trust my supplement? Where can I get tested and find out? And if we miss out, and this is my big scare, if we miss out on having tens of thousands, and I would say hundreds of thousands in some countries, and then millions in some countries like the US of distributors, maybe include Canada and Mexico in that, so I don't exaggerate the numbers too much. But we need all of those people so that people can find Zinzino when this trend breaks through to trend setting and eventually one day early mainstream, when that big group of existing consumers wants to get tested and wants to know that their supplements work. I want everywhere there to be a Zinzino partner so that we find them before they find some internet page that is trying to offer the same thing. That's why we need to go and build a big team, because we got to help all of those people.
I love that. And we do have so much that can help them, because not only health-wise, because people are really looking, you can see it all over. You go down into a Walmart or a Target, and they have pharmacies, and lined up is actually test-based things now. So we know not just Zinzino, but it's so important of what we have. So if you were to say, because you were just saying that you might have something that we should be saying to get people interested, is that for product or business?
Say that one more time.
You said you had something that what you say to somebody in a few minutes.
I got it.
So is that you're getting them interested in the products, or are you getting them interested in the business?
Well, I'd say both, because step one is getting them interested in what we do, and step two is showing them what we do and how they can profit from it. So if they're not interested in what we do, they won't be interested in profiting from what we do. So I'd say that first step is always to get them to understand what we do, which is really not selling the product, is really selling the test. And it's really not selling, it's really putting them on the prayer plan that maybe you will be so kind to them that you would test them so they could get out of their strange feeling now of having this need to take a test. So if I was just role playing shortly with you, Carla, it would be a short conversation, Carla. So do you take an interest in your health, Carla?
Absolutely. I think everybody does nowadays.
Yeah, I'd say so too. And what do you specifically do? I know that you've been on an exercise program. Have you done anything else than that?
I watched what I eat. I try to stay away from too many carbs and sugars.
Good, great. And do you take any supplements at any time?
I have looked into them.
Oh, okay, very cool. So how do you know that those things works in promoting health in your body?
Well, I don't know for sure. I'm just thinking sometimes, price goes along with quality. So I pay quite a bit for things, and I think it works.
That's exactly how I've been my entire life. I thought the more expensive the supplement is, the better it is. But what I came across a few years ago was a technology that could accurately find out if you have those critical nutrients in your body that you need for having happy cells or a good cell function, or having a bad cell function. If that existed, which it does, would you like to find out if the things that you're taking is working?
Well, yeah, because otherwise I'd be wasting money, Orjan.
Yeah, you would, and I'll tell you in specific what it is. We're measuring the most critical components for cell health, which is that the cells is in our skin, it's in our brain, it's in our hair, so everything in our body is built by cells, and each one of those cells has a cell membrane, and that cell membrane is built by fats. If there is the wrong composition of fats inside of that cell membrane, you have an unhappy cell, which means that it's hard for it to let the nutrients in, it's hard for it to let the hormonal functions come into the cell, and it's hard for it to get the waste material out again. And when we prick your finger, we take a drop of blood and we send it off to the lab, we analyze what's in that cell membrane to find out accurately, with precision, how your body is looking on the inside. And then when we get the test back, we can give you the balanced oil, which is a product that I've been taking for the last 10 years. And with that product, over 4 months, we will rebalance every cell in your body. And now at the end of that, we take another test and we'll prove to you in writing, as you feel it on your body as well, that you actually have a happy cell, letting the nutrients in easy and letting the waste out very easily. And you get an optimal cell function, which hopefully leads to you getting the health results that you want.
That makes it sound really easy, Orjan, because it's like a no-brainer. Who would say no to that?
No, so at this point, she is willing to take the test. At this point, she's interested in what in product. Now, as you heard, I didn't have to ask her if she had some aches and pains and all of those things. I didn't have to make any medical claims. I didn't have to even talk about things that we want to talk about, which is not allowed to talk about. Because all I'm doing is that I'm promoting that there is a guest-based way of thinking. That's the old way of thinking. And then there is a test-based way of thinking, which is the new way of thinking. And today, it wasn't like that in 2012, I'll tell you. It wasn't that easy to sell it in 2012. But every person sitting next to me in an airplane, when I do this 3-minute pitch, they all ask, how do I get the test? Where's the website? How do I order this test? So it's become a very easy thing to talk to people about test-based. And then my conclusion is, of course, so Carla, with that, you don't have to guess if what you're doing for your health is working. You know, and it's written in the report that you're doing one of the most important things in your diet, balancing your fat in your cell membranes. And that's one of the foundations for health. You still have to exercise. You still have to get other nutrients. If you want to lose weight, you still have to restrict your calories. Sugar is still bad, but in this area, there is no more guessing, and we know that you're doing what you can do to preserve your health. Would you like to try that?
That makes sense, Orjan. Yep, I want to try it. I want to see what the test
And
says.
at that point, of course, sometimes we just want a person as a customer, and that's fine, and we build 25 of those. But at that point, we also want to go out and say, so we believe that there is over 500 million people that would like to take this test because they're already taking omega-3s. And we have a business opportunity connected to that. Would you be interested in taking a look at that?
What does that entail? Do you want me to be selling
If you've got half an hour from me, we'll go through the details. If not, we'll just get you signed up as a customer and we'll make your cells happy.
Now, I am so interested in what you're going to say next that I'm going to say I have a half hour and I know you don't have a half hour, but everybody is on here leaning forward, Orjan, to find out what are you going to be saying in the next few minutes.
And this is so boring because I'm not going to give you a revolution now. I will go through the same presentation that I've used forever and ever. I used a short presentation now, and really the presentation is not the point anymore. So yes, the information that we give is in the presentation. It is important for duplication, but it's the things that I do when I come into the meeting first and the things that I do after the presentation that will make the biggest difference. Now, you can't skip the middle part, okay? So we can't just stop doing presentations. You have to have the middle part, and that would, for me, be the short presentation slides. If you're using another system, that system is more than good enough. But I'd spend the first 10 minutes of that meeting to find Carla's needs. And if I can't find any needs, I would start creating needs, just like I did with a test. I created a need for Carla to find out. I will create a need for her to want to do the business. And that comes by me asking questions, where the most important question is the hardest one to ask, but the easiest one to learn how to ask. And that's when I then come in and say, okay, so Carla, I know that you're a teacher, and I know that you love your profession, and I think that's great. I mean, good teacher is just a lifesaver today. My son is 8, and he's been struggling sometimes at school, and the teacher has just been incredible. So thank you for the job that you're doing. Then I'd let her respond. I've only got 3 minutes. She can't respond now. So I literally have to catch the taxi in 3 minutes because I'm having a flight leaving in a little bit over, just around 2 hours, and it's half an hour to the airport. But I would then say, Carla, have you ever had on your mind to build a business or to do something that you couldn't do in your current line of work?
Well, I'd love to have more money so I could stay more at home and travel so I could see my grandchildren.
Okay, and you live in the US and in Denmark, so I guess that with inflation and everything, it's not been the greatest thing for airline travel.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, how much would you maybe have to make a secondary business in addition to your job being worth it to you?
I guess if it was really to be worth it, I'd like to have enough money to travel a lot and to have spending money too, so I'm not down. So I would say probably a couple thousand a month.
Yeah, and I'd interview her for about 5-10 minutes, okay? Until I surely knew that, okay, I know a couple of things that she wants. Then I'd run through the presentation, and then we'd have a conversation at the end of the presentation. And 2 things is important in that conversation. Number 1, and then every time she talks, the question that I ask is, tell me more. That's interesting. Tell me more. That's interesting. Tell me more. That's how you find the needs, is that you get them talking. So your goal is to talk less and get her to talk more. That's the first 10 minutes. Then in the end, you come back to how do I close that? Well, first thing that I do is that I said, so I showed you just a brief, short introduction to what we do. I'd really like to set a meeting where I could go through the rest of the information on the product and a lot more information on the business. So when could we have an hour to go through that? It's the first thing that I would do. Because
So you're
I would
using that meeting to book another meeting?
correct before I try to close.
Always.
Because then we're going to roll her on to the next meeting if we're not managed to close. And then I'm going to go into closing and say, okay, so from what we talked about, what are the things that you found out that you like the most? Do you have any questions? Would you like to take a test, which I already know at this point, and start on the products? So that's where I would go. And then I'd go through more questions until you either say yes, I wouldn't take you to where you say no in this first meeting. So there is no pressure in that. So it's just continuing questioning until she either says yes, or she is wondering and I'm quiet and then say, hey, here, let's get you tested. Let's do that. Let's get you on the product, and then we'll see each other on Tuesday next week. And then you compliment her and you move on to your next meeting, so to say, but you move on and then you come back to a follow-up presentation. Because when you're going to build a massive amount of partners, the way that is done is simply through systemizing it and moving people along in that system. And the most important thing is that everyone can do it, not how well we do it. Because in the next meeting, I'd bring an upline. In the next meeting after that, I'd bring another upline. I'd bring them to an online business presentation. I'd do the things so that they got all of the information. And since they already want the product, now it's just trying to find out if they also want the business.
So in summing it up, because I know you need to go, there is no real secret to what Orjan does to sponsor people and to talk to people. You talk to them, find a need, answer their needs, and let them make their decisions. So there's the secret is there's really no secret.
Yeah, Carla. So I think we part-time, 10 to 15 hours a week, can make $2,000, $3,000 a month if you team up with me. So would you like to do that?
I will sign up. It's Orjan, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So
as simple as it is.
Yeah. And as a last, just take home for everyone, doing the business today is a lot easier than what it was 5 years ago. And that's exciting. Okay, so you can build this like if you see Carla having all of this success, you see Donna having all of this success, you see these successful people around you, you can do it much faster today than what they did in the last 5 years. Okay, so that's important to know. And Patrick Nilsson from Sweden is here. He just hit some big targets this month, amazing. So, but it's much easier to do it today than the 10 years that he's been building the business. Okay, but that's nothing compared to what will happen in the progression in the next 5 years. Because when a trend builds, it builds like this, and all of a sudden there is just an enormous demand in the market for what you have. And then it becomes just very, 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 and I wouldn't say easy or simple, but fast, because you still need to be competent, very fast to build the business. So when you see Zinzino launching new countries today, and all of a sudden those new countries get top level ranks in a very short period of time, it is because they're launching at a time where the market is much easier than when we launched the US. So when we're launching Mexico in a few months, you guys get ready. I think that you'd see like as many customers coming in Mexico in the first month that we spent probably about the first 5 years doing in the US. And yes, we've been pre-launching, but there will be new groups, and you will have groups there as well that have never been there before. And it's just going to go faster. It's not easy. It's not simple. It takes everything that you've got. Doesn't take more than you've got, but it's faster today than what it was. And 5 years from now, you're going to look back at today and say, wow, the people joining now, they are the lucky ones. So love and appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. I really have to go.
Orjan, thank you
Bye-bye.
from all of us. We're going to just say thanks to everyone for jumping on here. Going to have everybody unmute. Thank you.
Thank you.
Orjan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Orjan.
you. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you,
Orjan.
Let's make the business big.
Thank
It's
you.
fantastic. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Carla.
Bye now. Vamos, Mexico.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Ándale, ándale.
thank you.
Vamos ya.
Thank you.